Call to order the Wickliffe City Council meeting on March 25th, 2019. Sandy, please call the roll.
Wickliffe.
Present.
Bogo.
Present.
Jaworski.
Here.
Koski. Here. Levon.
Here.
Sakis.
Here.
Saloto.
Excused. Approval of council minutes. I'd like to make a motion to amend the minutes during the fire chief's report on the March 11th minutes. It states the Chief Powers would like to look into the possibility of an assistance plan for the families of part-time police and firefighters' families. The families are not part of the report, it's just for the possibility of an assistance plan for the part-time police and firefighters. I make a motion to amend the report.
A second.
Motion by Council President Levon, seconded by Council Gallo to amend the report as stated. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Wickliffe.
Yes.
Bogo.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Koski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Sakis.
Yes.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Make a motion. Second.
Moved by Councilman Bogo, seconded by Councilman Bianalillo to approve of the council minutes of March 11th as amended. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Wickliffe.
Yes.
Bogo.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Koski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Sakis.
Yes.
Reports and communications from the Mayor, Safety Director.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everybody. This morning I emailed council a letter of support I received from the Chamber of Commerce, their Public Policy Committee, and then subsequently the Board of Directors in regards to passing legislation to support the referendum zoning going on the ballot this November. I'll make sure to bring a copy of that with me to the committee meeting next week. Last week I visited our cannabis facility, The Botanist, with Congressman Dave Joyce. A top-notch facility and business all around, very professional, very clean, and very secure. After going through that, meeting everybody and seeing the operations, I feel we need to discuss the ordinance and consider reducing, if not eliminating completely, the annual permit fee. It's not fair to the business owners and only drives up the cost of the medicine subsequently. They've already paid the permit fees, they have payroll taxes, they fixed up the space they're in, and obviously the payroll tax they provide is only going to grow as time goes on. So I'd like to add that into the Legislation and Welfare Committee. It's the Ordinance 748.10. And then the residential and commercial inspections and occupancy permit issuance. This is actually something the fire chief brought up and we discussed a month or so ago. So essentially what we have now is for residential occupancy permits and commercial business occupancy permits, everything's issued under the building department. When it creates a liability when the fire department and the county should be doing commercial properties. So really we just need to separate that, have the residential under the building department and the commercial under the fire department. The chief did a great job of going through and shortening the application, and I can tell you as a small business owner, when I rented a space years ago, it was a very cumbersome process. So this will make things a lot smoother as well, release the liability, and make things a little more efficient and safe. I did share this with Councilman Bianalillo a few weeks ago as well. So I'd like to add that into committee, the residential and commercial occupancy permit issuance. And that is all I have tonight.
Any questions or comments for the Mayor, Safety Director? Okay, we will add residential and commercial occupancy permits to the Legislation and Welfare Committee, as well as marijuana permit fee, number 748.10 to the Legislation and Welfare Committee as well. Thank you, Mayor. Reports and communications from the Director of Law.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just want to update council on the Umicore recycling facility. That was where I believe it was last month when you passed the final ordinances to exempt their deduct meters for their discharge. Their sewer discharge directly into Lake Erie, and also authorize the mayor to enter into the settlement. That settlement agreement was signed. The last step is we do have a letter to the Lake County Department of Utilities allowing them to exempt those certain fees. That's going out this week, so between the three cities, that's the last step in that. I think it came to a nice resolution for the company located here. The only other comment I want to make is we do have third reading tonight on the exemption, the resolution for the CRA. This is, once again, just the beginning step. There has to be application, assuming council passes this tonight. There is an application process to the estate to approve this, and I'm presume that our economic development director, if she feels the need to provide more information to council at this time, she'll provide that information. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the law director? Thank you, Mr. Zeoli. Communications from the council president. I received a liquor control permit application for 28932 Euclid Avenue. If the council person that has that ward has any objection, please let the council clerk know. Any amendments or additions to the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to administrators. Police Chief Weiss.
Thank you, Mr. President. I emailed all council the police department's annual report on Friday. I did that just in case. Hopefully you will have the opportunity to review it, and if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer those for you. Or if you don't want to answer the questions now, if you want to send me
I just want to know, is that available for the public to view at all? Is there
yeah, it's
something?
it's on our website and it's on the city's website.
Okay, because that's very interesting. There's a lot of interesting facts there, and you guys did a very good job on that.
Thanks for joining.
Very interesting.
Secondly, the only other significant thing that occurred over the week, I'm sure most people heard about it, was we had a barricaded person in a home on Regent. Started out as a domestic dispute. One person was assaulted and left the home, the other one barricaded himself in the house and threatened that he had a gun. He ultimately did not, but we couldn't take that chance. So called the SWAT team out, tried negotiating with him for a little better part of 2 hours. Then we introduced some OC and CS gas and made entry to the room and took him into custody without incident after that. Took him up to the hospital, and he was arraigned on felonious assault charges. He's out of the county right now, I believe. That would conclude my report this evening.
Any questions or comments for the police chief? Thank you, Chief Weiss. Fire Chief Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Really not too much going on. We just hired those two young guys last week. We're doing a lot of training, and we're in the process of hiring 5 part-time people. Our part-time staff is down by about 7. So we're hopeful that we get these 5 guys through the process. As you know, in hiring in this public sector, it takes a while to hire some people. And then once we get them hired, we get them trained, and hopefully have them up and going here fairly soon. That's all I have, sir.
Any questions or comments for the fire chief? Thank you, Chief Powers. Finance Director Doles.
Thank you, Council President. I would like to just let the council know that the auditors are in-house this week, so hopefully all will go smoothly there. And the only other thing I have is I would like to request the sewer rates and the sewer fund be put into a committee and discussed. And that's all I have.
All right, we'll add the sewer rates from the sewer fund into the finance committee. Any questions or comments for the finance director? Thank you, Ms. Doles. Engineer Kamika.
Thank you, Council President. In addition to our written report, I'm like to say that I'm finalizing our report to the EPA for our clean stormwater activities. It's an annual report that we have to provide, and we're taking care of that. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the city engineer? Thank you, Mr. Formica.
Thank you.
Service Director D'Ambrosio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to report the Maple Street project is going well. They're actually a little bit ahead of schedule. They're starting to pour the sidewalks on the west side of the road. They're still accommodating our residents anytime they need anything. We're really not getting many calls from the residents down there, so everything is going well. This is going to be the last week for second shift. We're going to put everybody back on days. Right now we are working on golf course equipment, our lawn mowers, working on ball fields. We had to do some spring cleanup around some of the baseball fields, especially some of the leaves that we didn't get to in the fall. But making the fields as playable as we can right now. And that concludes my report.
Any questions to Council for the Service Director? Councilwoman Koski.
This is for both you and Tim. I was at the tennis courts today at Colby, and it seems like the crack is getting worse on both sides of the court. I took some pictures. The cracks are the length of both courts, both sides, and it's at least the width of my finger, on one side, and goes all the way down. And then the other side, my keys almost fall into the cracks. It's so bad. It's really bad. And I mean, you could just see it.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's bad. And that's the home team for home court for the high school team. Is there anything that can be done?
Yeah, I know we put money in the budget for just some minor repairs, but then I believe I think it's in committee, isn't it, to actually look to rehab the whole thing. I think it's just gonna continue to keep on expanding, that's my opinion.
But it could at least be
I think I might be able to do something temporarily
something during
in
the
there. Okay, we'll go
season,
take a look at it and see.
Cover the couple months that the high school kids play up there,
We'll take a look at, we'll go and take a look at it and see if there's something we can do in the meantime.
Yeah, excuse me.
You what?
Those seasons start, both middle school and high school are starting this week, I believe, or not next week, I believe. So if you can do anything temporary this week, it'd be fantastic.
Okay, we'll take a look at it, sure.
Any other questions or comments for the Service Director? Joe, on ordinance 2019-19, did the amount for salt, I believe it was 2,500 tons, is that the normal amount we usually bid out?
Yes, sir, for probably about the last 7-8 years, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Building Commissioner Sack.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I put the final draft for the new sign ordinance is with the law director. I'd like to thank the law director also. He's just double checking it before we hand it in to you for, put it in the appropriate committee, the new sign ordinance. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the Building Commissioner? Thank you, Mr. Sack. Recreation Director, stop.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. We are continuing to accept applications over at Green Ridge. We've got a couple applicants in, so we're making some good decisions over there, hopefully soon. Starting to take applications for lifeguards also. We'll be needing lifeguards this year. And we just put the summer camp application online today.
Any questions? Councilwoman Koski.
Do you need counselors?
Probably not,
Okay.
yeah.
Any other questions? Councilman Sack.
Michelle is still waiting for a call back from one or two, but I think we're in good shape there. But we always need the lifeguards.
Okay.
Councilman Sack.
What's the age limit? So,
15 for guards.
and then for the Green Ridge?
It depends. We've had high schoolers over there in the past, so, if they can do a push mower or, weed whacker, things of that nature. We obviously prefer that they have a little bit of experience, but we can teach some people. If they're hardworking and dependable, we've seen 16-year-olds who are great. We've seen 60-year-olds who might not be as great. So it all depends on the individual.
All right, good deal.
Any other questions or comments for the Recreation Director? Councilwoman Koski.
I see you have up registration for the Christmas in July run?
Yes, it is up and online, correct. Yes, it's on.
Okay, very good.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the Recreation Director? Thank you, Mr. Stott. Economic Development Director Drake.
Thank you, Mr. President. Few things, I'm available for any questions on the CRA when you're reviewing that on your third reading. I'm also planning on attending next week's committee meeting to review the information that I had sent to everyone and to answer any questions regarding that. And I've sent current commercial properties that are for lease or sale. I sent those to Patty and she's uploaded those onto the website. And then I've been reviewing the economic development information on the website and I'm working on some suggestions for revisions. And I'll be sending that to the mayor. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Any questions or comments for the Economic Development Director? Thank you, Mr. Rick. I'll now open the floor for audience participation. If anyone would like to address with the City Council, please stand, state your name and address for the clerk's record. Each person will have a 5-minute maximum amount of time. Would anyone like to address with the City Council? Would anyone like to address with the City Council? If not, I'll mark audience participation complete. We're closed. Committee reports. The Committee of the Whole met on March 18, 2019 at 7 p.m. Purpose, ABM Building Solutions and Language for Responsible Contractors. Present, Bialilo, Bogo, Jaworski, Levon, Sakis, Sloto. Also present, Barbish, Zeely, Ice, Formica, D'Ambrosia, Sack, and Brian Rogers from CT Consultants. Mayor Barbish introduced a group from ABM Solutions who consisted of Joe Sokol, Alex Williams, and Jim Rosen. They used a PowerPoint presentation to explain to the committee all the benefits they can provide the city. They can perform an investment-grade audit to look for energy-saving solutions in the city with examples of lighting or HVAC systems. From the findings of this audit, the city can decide if it would like to proceed in taking action on the items that were recommended to be replaced. The city could take out a loan, and the savings from the replacement items would be used to pay for the principal and interest on the loan. Typically, the agreement with ABM Solutions is for 15 years. The price of the audit is approximately $20,000 to $25,000. Service Director and Mayor Barbish notified the committee that they have been working with ABM for approximately the last 6 months. Mr. D'Ambrosia informed the committee that he had been provided 3 references. One recommended ABM. The main contacts at the other 2 references didn't respond back after several attempts of being contacted. He was able to speak to someone at one of those references who wasn't the main contact, and that person wasn't impressed with ABM. The gentleman from ABM answered the questions of individual council people. The committee recommends to council that they authorize the mayor to move forward with their request for qualification. This item is reported out of committee. Councilman Bialilo presented an ordinance that was passed in Movie Hills regarding responsible contractors. One of the items on this ordinance asked contractors that bid on city projects to fill out a pre-qualification questionnaire. Engineer Formica told the committee that CT asked for referrals for any bidders that have not worked with, and they follow up to confirm the credibility of the company. He also notified the committee that in section 8-7 of the city charter, it states that when we enter into a contract of over $25,000, we shall award it to the lowest, most responsive, and responsible bidder. He recommends we propose a change to the charter to remove the specific dollar amount and default to the state limit and remove the lowest, most responsive, and responsible portion and default to Ohio Revised Code 735.05, which uses the term lowest and best, which is broader and will provide the city greater discretion in awarding a contract. The committee recommends that CT implement immediately the completion of the formal contractor pre-qualification questionnaire for bidding projects in Wickliffe as part of their standard work. It also recommends the council that it authorize the law director to create legislation to have the dollar amount and the most responsive and responsible portion be removed from the charter by sending it to the voters of the city in their November election. Meeting adjourned at 8:31, respectfully submitted. The Legislation and Welfare Committee meeting met at March 18, 2019 at 8:30, called to order 8:33. Present, Sakis, Bialilo, Bogo, Jaworski, Levon. Also present, Barbish, Formica, D'Ambrosia, Sack, Zeely, and Chief Ice. The topic was discussion around parking on lawns and ordinances. Mayor Barbish feels cars on front lawns look terrible for city image. Zeely stated that he has been looking through boxes of past litigation surrounding cars on lawns that have gone as far as the Supreme Court as far back as the 70s. He does not recommend changing our ordinances surrounding the present state of cars on lawns because of possible future litigation. Questions were asked as to whether we can cite as to the issue with today's ordinances. Police Chief Ice stated that the police or the building commissioner can cite, and it is a minor misdemeanor. It can be enforced. Saloto asked what the timeframes are around parking on laws. I stated that there is no specific time, however, it is a prolonged problem. Police issue a first warning, and then additional warnings lead to a citation. Zealy added that most people heed the first warning, some do not need a citation to resolve the issue. Bianalillo asked if there was anything in place to handle neighbor retaliation. ICE felt neighbors should always contact police and allow them to make an anonymous call on the offender. ICE felt that we should not make any changes to the present ordinances. Bogo added that he has had good results approaching offenders with Chief ICE and has had amicable reactions with just a warning. The recommendation of the committee is to leave the ordinance as is and remove it from the report, or remove from the committee. Second topic was discussion around garage sale permits. Mayor Barbish feels we should remove the need for permits as they are not relevant any longer. Bogo stated that it is often important to regulate the number and length of garage sales, as many in the past have gone on for days and happen as often as weekly. Mayor Barbish felt the need for permits are time-consuming and take up too much of Patty's time to produce and keep track of. Jaworski added that we should put them online when the website is updated. The mayor felt that this would be a waste of time because we would still need to keep track of frequency and length. The recommendation was that Zealy will edit and revise the ordinance and bring to committee at a later date for further discussion. The item will remain in committee. Meeting was adjourned at 8:55, respectfully submitted by Councilwoman Saloto. I will make a motion to authorize the law director to create legislation to have the dollar amount most responsive and responsible portion be removed from the charter, and so that it goes on to November election for the voters to vote on.
Second.
Moved by Council President Levon, and seconded by Councilman Bialillo, to authorize the law director to create the necessary legislation to remove the dollar amount and most responsive and responsible portion to be removed from the charter. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Biandello?
Yes.
Bogo?
Yes.
Jaworski?
Yes.
Kowski?
Yes.
Levon?
Yes.
Sakis?
Yes.
Okay. Commission reports. Seeing no old business or new business, move on to ordinances.
Ordinance number 2019-18, an ordinance authorizing the Director of Finance of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio to transfer sums of money from various funds to others, second reading. Ordinance number 2019-19, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio to enter into an agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation for the provision of road salt and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Bialillo, seconded by Councilwoman Kowski to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2019-19 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Biandello?
Yes.
Bogo?
Yes.
Jaworski?
Yes.
Kowski?
Yes.
Levon?
Yes.
Sakis?
Yes.
Resolutions? Oh, sorry.
Adoption.
Adoption.
Second. Moved by Councilman Bialillo, seconded by Councilman Bogo to adopt ordinance 2019-19 as presented. Discussion?
Joe, based on this year, is it likely you think that the number for salt will be coming down compared to this past year?
You know, I would say there's a good chance of that. Last year it went down, well, this year it went up. Last year we paid $26.77. This year it was $44.39. But because of the mild winter that we had, there could be a stockpile. There's a chance it could be less. Let's hope for the best.
Thank you, Joe, I hope so.
And any other further discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Biandello?
Yes.
Bogo?
Yes.
Jaworski?
Yes.
Kowski?
Yes.
Levon?
Yes.
Sakis?
Yes.
Resolutions?
Resolution number 2019-03, a resolution expanding the City of Wickliffe Community Reinvestment Area to further include all other residential, commercial, and industrial properties within the corporation limits of the city and amending financial allowances for said community reinvestment area. Third reading.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Kowski, seconded by Councilman Bianalillo to adopt resolution 2019-3 as presented. Discussion? Councilman Sakis.
So, my question is, so if someone were to get a addition to their house, this is for something like that. Is there a minimum? Because can somebody that just gets siding or a roof done, can they try to say they want to?
So anything that's maintenance does not fall under the criteria for a reinvestment area. And the baseline tax base remains intact. That's not part of what is being abated. It's only for the improvements that occur above and beyond. So by doing an addition, there creates, the auditor would more than likely say that the value of the house goes up, therefore there's a difference in the price. So let's say $100,000 house becomes a $150,000 house. It's only based on the $50,000 differential. And then it's based on 50% of the taxes of the $50,000. And then the baseline $100,000 remains intact at the same rate.
And to that point, it's a minimum of $2,500 is the minimum, so you can't try and put in one window and get a tax abatement. But yeah, I just wanted to reiterate, since it's been a bit since we discussed this, having 3 readings, it's been probably 7-8 weeks since we discussed it. This is just expanding the tax abatement program, CRA, from Euclid Avenue to the entire city. Another way we can try and stay competitive with development and folks wanting to build houses and improve their houses in the city.
Any further discussion? Councilman Jaworski.
Monica, what's the next step following this then?
So once this has been approved tonight, then Sue has received a letter that I know the template of the letter came from the state of Ohio, so I know it's a good template that will be sent certified mail to the Board of Elections, and all that is a notification. And then there's various attachments that we will put with the application. So Pete's completed Pete has completed the maps. There has to be 2 weeks of notification in the paper once the resolution's been passed, notifying the public of the process. So we'll send a copy of that, we'll send a copy of the resolution, we'll send a copy of the letter, and then we just keep the return receipt as backup. And we submit that to the state of Ohio. We've completed the housing stock, they call it housing stock, so we have housing stock examples that we'll also send to the state. And then we need to have this all submitted within 60 days of passing the resolution. If it passes tonight, it's within 60 days of this evening, it has to be there. And so it will be done.
Wonderful, thank you.
Director Zeal.
The only thing I'd add to Economic Director Drake is the school board notifications, since they will be involved in any application for this. So we do have a statutory letter that has already been prepared, which will be sent to the school board, assuming the resolution passes.
Right, so that will be sent as soon as it's able to, and Mayor Barbish will sign that, and so we'll be able to send it out certified mail. And once that's done, then that will go into the packet, the copy of that will go into the packet.
Any further discussion? Cindy, please call the roll.
Mandalillo,
Yes.
Bogo,
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Sakis.
Yes.
Other legislation. Miscellaneous. Just a reminder, we have a meeting Monday, April 1st, on the committee of the whole to discuss EAP for part-time employees and Lake Tram parking ride facility. I'd like to add Charter Review Commission report and Shared Economic Development Manager to that committee as well. So 7 o'clock, Monday, April 1st, to discuss EAP for part-time employees, Lake Tram parking ride facility, Charter Review Commission report, and Shared Economic Development Manager. Entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Jaworski, seconded by Councilman Biello to adjourn the meeting. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Mandalillo,
Yes.
Bogo,
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Sakis.
Yes.